everyone. Today is Tuesday, October 13th, and I started with the problem on the board. I had students draw an array for 4 times 5 and then draw an array for 5 times 4, and then we went over it. So our first number is always the rows that go across. So we don't need this right now. Okay. I like to write my numbers down the side to help me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 rows. And then I draw 4 boxes. 5 are my columns. So I number 1 through 5 on the top. And then I draw in my boxes and then I fill in the rest. Then I count the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So 4 times 5 is 20. Over here I do the same, but now 5 is the first number. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It goes across. Remember, row, row, row your boat. You go across, not up and down. That's a column. Up and down is a column. So we have 4 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up and down. You count all the boxes and you have 20. So this shows the commutative property of multiplication. You can flip the numbers and you still get the same answer. All right, so turn to your math book, chapter 3. Let's see where we are at. Turn to page 123. 123. All right, so now we're doing the commutative property of multiplication. So Dave works at the bird store. He arranges 15 boxes of birdseeds in rows on the shelf. What are 2 ways he can arrange the boxes in equal rows? So this is a commutative property. We need to arrange 15 tiles in 5 equal rows, and so we're going to draw a picture. We have a total of 15. So what I first did is I know I need 5 rows. So I numbered 5, and I drew my first tiles for my rows. Well, we have to get up to 15. So I know I have 5. So then I made another one. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I know I needed another column because I'm not to 15 yet. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I stopped right there. This one is confusing. I don't want to explain it. I don't like that question. So let's jump to the multiplication sentence. We have 5 rows. 1. I always do that. Let's start at 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3. And you have 15 total when you count all the boxes. So 5 times 3 is 15. Now it says, suppose David arranges the boxes in 3 equal rows. We still have a total of 15, but now we're in 3 rows. So 1, 2, 3. I draw my boxes. 1, 2, 3. So it's 1, 2, 3. I now have 5 columns because I already know, well, if I do 3 rows up here, I must have 5 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I count them all up, I get 15. So try, 124, page 124. Now the commutative property of multiplication also works with groups and objects. So here we have our 2 groups, 1, 2, and there are 3 in each group. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 in each group. The total amount is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, you could still flip 3 and 2, but you'll still have a different picture. But instead of an array, you have groups and objects. So now we have 3 groups. 1, 2, 3. And now we have 2 in each group. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We count them all up, we get 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 times 3 equals, which means the same as 3 times 2. Go to the bottom. Draw a quick picture on the right that shows the commutative property of multiplication. Then complete the multiplication sentence. So I want to finish one before we even go over here. I think that is easier. So we have how many groups? 1, 2, 3. 3 groups. How many are in each? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we have 12 total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now we need to do the commutative property. Well, now we know our number is 3 times 4 equals 12. We know commutative property is flip it. So now write 4 times 3 equals 12. So now you know how many groups? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many are going to be in each group? 3. 1, 2, 3. Fill it in. The bottom, 2 times 5. Oh, we know that first number means 2 rows. So 1, 2. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many total? You count the green, you get 10. Now over here. All right, let's flip it. Commutative property of 2 times 5 is 5 times 2. So draw your 5 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now your 2 columns, 1, 2. Add up all the boxes, you get 10. I want you to try, pause please, and do page 125. Write a multiplication sentence for the array. We know the first number is rows. So how many rows do we have? 1, 2. So 2 times how many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many total boxes do you have? When you count up all your boxes, you get 12. Now you just need to do the commutative property. Well, you don't even need to really look at the picture because the commutative property of 2 times 6, you flip it. 6 times 2 still equals 12. But let's just check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. 1, 2 columns. Now number 2, write a multiplication sentence for the model, then use the commutative property of multiplication to write a related multiplication sentence. So you don't need to draw a picture. You're going to use the picture to find the first multiplication sentence, and then you find the commutative property for the second. So we have 2 groups, 1, 2. How many are in each group? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many total dots do you have? If you count up the red dots, you get 8. Now flip it. 2 times 4, commutative property is 4 times 2 equals 8. We know the answer is the same. Number 3, rows are first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3 columns. How many total boxes? 15. Commutative property, flip it. So now it's 3 times 5 equals 15. Number 4. Rows first, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. And we have 20 boxes when you count up the blue. Commutative property, you flip it. So now it's 5 times 4 equals 20. This is the same as the top, so we're going to go over it. The rows are first, so 1, 2, 3 rows. How many columns? 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, and it's out of 12. There are 12 red boxes. Now flip it. 4 times 3 equals 12 is the commutative property of 3 times 4. Number 6, it's groups times number of objects in groups. So it's 2 groups, 1, 2. How many objects are in one group? 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many total red dots do you have? You have 10. So 5 and 5. Flip it for the commutative property. 2 times 5 is the same as 5 times 2 equals 10. Number 7, rows first. 1, 2, 3 rows. How times the amount of columns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you count up the green squares, you get 18. And then you flip it. 3 times 6, the commutative property is 6 times 3 equals 18. Down here, I do not know why I crossed out the problems that we have not learned yet. I don't know why they had it on here. But 3 times 7 equals what? It's the same as 7 times 3. Number 13, 5 times 8 equals or is the same as 8 times 5. Next is homework. So turn to 126A. You're going to do all. Then you're going to do 126B all for homework. But number 6, we're going to do together. Jeff collects toy cars. They are displayed in a case that has 4 rows. There are 6 cars in each row. How many cars does Jeff have? We want to use cubes. We want to underline the question. How many cars does Jeff have? Circle key numbers, 4 and 6. Box the math verb. Rows. Rows mean array. So we're going to draw an array. An array means multiplication. So we know we're going to multiply. So we have 4 rows. So we're going to draw 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. But how many columns do we have? 6, because there's 6 in each. So at the top, you can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then fill in the rest of the boxes. So we're still on E. We drew our picture. Now what's our multiplication sentence? It's going to be 4 times 6, because it's rows times columns. 4 times 6, if you count up all the boxes, is 24. 24 what? 24 cars. Okay, very good. The next, you do not have. I have, because I found it after pickup and I wanted to go over it with you all, and it's with sequence. Since it's just a recording, students helped me put it in sequence, so I left it. So it's how to bake a cupcake, and we wanted to put the steps in order. So they helped me decide how it goes in order. So they helped me decide you put cake mix, eggs, oil, and water in a bowl. Then you stir up the ingredients until it is all mixed together. You line the cupcake tray with paper liners. Then you scoop the mixed up ingredients into the cupcake liners. Next, you put them in the oven to bake for 30 minutes. You take the cupcakes out of the oven and let them cool. Then you decorate the cooled off cupcakes with chocolate frosting. So they helped me put this in order, and I had a worksheet that they helped me fill out. Our first question was, what is the first step? Well, our first step was to put cake mix, eggs, oil, and water in a bowl. What would happen without the first step? Well, without the first step, we couldn't make cupcakes because you need the ingredients. So if you didn't grab the ingredients and mix them up, there literally would not be any cupcakes to make. What is the third step? So the third, here's 1, 2, 3. This is our third step. Line the cupcake tray with paper liners. Well, what would happen if we didn't have this third step? Without the third step, our tray would get messy and it would be hard to get the cupcakes out. So what our cupcakes are in, it's the paper that goes around it and you peel it off to eat your cupcake. Well, if you did not put the liner into the cupcake tray when you bake it, 1, your cupcake tray will get messy. 2, you would have to scoop it out with a spoon. It might be hard to pull out the cupcake. And then what is the final step? Final means last. So decorate the cooled off cupcakes. So without the final step, we would have plain cupcakes without decorations and without frosting. The reason we went over this is we've been talking about sequence throughout stories we're reading, but when someone asks you, well, what happened in the story? You want to put it in order. You don't want to jump around or it becomes really confusing. Whoever you're trying to explain it to won't understand. So when someone tells you, oh, tell me what happened in this movie. Like for instance, in Finding Nemo, you're not going to say, oh my gosh, Nemo was found. Then he was lost, right? That doesn't make sense because he first got taken. He first was fish napped. The end, he was found by his dad. So you don't want to flip-flop. You want to keep it in order. So not all stories will give you sequence in transitions words like first, second, third, also, after, before. But you don't need those words to help you understand what's going on in the story. The order it goes in your story is what we want to hear. So when I ask you, oh, tell me about what you read in this story. we talked about main idea. So you'd say, oh, well, the main idea is, so what was overall, what did you read? Overall, what is it kind of about? Then you go into the steps, right? So that is why we were working on sequence for a little explanation. I am going to be gone Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, out of town for a honeymoon. I'll be back Tuesday. So I need you to please be in class because I will not be able to do these overview videos during my lunch because I won't be here. I gave her a plan of what she needs to do what the sub needs to do with you. But I won't be here after to record a video. So please be there. All right. Thank you all.